You know, the dangerous thing about recording these podcasts is I'm gonna just let you know that I prefer to just do it all the way through. I don't like to pre-record. If there's a mistake, I keep it in there because I make mistakes. I'm human. People make mistakes. This is real life. I don't want it super edited and make it all fancy and all that stuff. Like, I don't like that, but I had to do it earlier because I sneezed, because I'm going through it a little bit. But despite that, it's okay. We're still here. Episode 24. If you're listening to the podcast, you already know who the guest is because his face is on the beautiful thumbnail provided by the good folks at Zip Chair and Zip Chair Gaming. Who is episode 24's guest? That is Diamond Dallas Page, the 3-time world heavyweight champion, the WWE Hall of Famer. And that just talks about the stuff he's done in the ring. We'll get to everything he's done outside the ring because A&E is doing their biography series on WWE Legends again, just like they did last year. It's an amazing partnership, an amazing concept, and amazing behind the scenes footage of some of these stars that we've never seen before, despite it being decades since the stuff was filmed. And this Sunday, they'll be focusing on DDP and his story, his climb, everything he's done outside the ring as well. So before that hits A&E, we are going to get to talk to Diamond Dallas Page, and we'll get to him here in a second. I just have some things that I need to go through. We have some protocol, some announcements people should say, and those people are not other people, they're just me, so I don't know why I said that. But let's start off with the first big announcement. We have been approved. We will be credentialed, and we will be in Philadelphia April 6th and 7th for WrestleMania 40. Glad to say we'll be back in the building. This will be my second time covering a WrestleMania as a member of the media, second straight year. We're going back to back from LA all the way to Philly. So yes, we will be there. We'll be a part of Media Day. We'll try to talk to as many WWE superstars as possible. And look, we're still a couple weeks away, 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're less than 3 weeks away. 3 Monday Night Raws until WrestleMania 40, which is kind of crazy. But what I will say is, WrestleMania 39, I was very excited. It was very important to me. There was a lot of money being spent out of my pocket to make sure I could be there with the hotel and all this stuff. And because of that, I was so I needed to make sure everything was correct. So I do these interviews, and then I went to the hotel with shitty Wi-Fi, trying to upload these interviews and edit them, and I'm still learning. All of this I'm always a work in progress, but back then I was more of a work in progress than I am now. So everything was slower, and I spent a lot of time just uploading stuff when I realized that I didn't need to put everything up all at once. You know what I mean? So I tell you that to tell you this. During WrestleMania weekend, I will make sure to put 1 or 2 interviews up on the podcast feed. We'll have some clips. We'll have some of the interviews up. I can't imagine that I'm going to get to all of them, but we will make sure to put something up to keep you guys, engaged with all the content that's coming out of that weekend. Obviously, WrestleMania is 2 days, but then you got ROH, you got the SmackDown, you got all these great independent shows and WrestleCon and all this stuff going on. So we will try to make sure that we post some of it on my social media feed. That'll be constant, like with the Instagram stories and stuff like that, to try to take you with me, basically, to Philly. We will be there from Wednesday to Monday, I believe. So I know for certain we'll be at Wale Mania. We'll be at Ring of Honor, their super show. I will probably not be at SmackDown because Ring of Honor is going on, but then I will make my way to the Hall of Fame just because I really want to hear Paul Heyman. Congratulations to him and everyone else who's being inducted. Hopefully, Bray Wyatt. Let's do this. It's a given. I'm assuming he's going to be the last announcement. But yeah, I want to be in the building for all of that. Pay my respects to the entire class. And yeah, so that's WrestleMania weekend. We will be there. Thank you to you guys. Thank you to all of you. Your support. I know this podcast is brand new. The numbers are better than I thought. I can't believe anyone's clicked play on this. You have a million options to listen to a shitload of stuff. From music to podcasts, specifically the wrestling podcast. The plethora of options are available to you, and you take time to listen to us. Thank you for rocking with us. brick by brick, step by step, we continue to grow. Of course, the YouTube channel as well, which is blown up this month. We're 13 days into it. We've gotten over 1,000 subscribers or something crazy like that. We cracked the 6,000 subscribers. We're heading towards 7,000. I have a goal that I wanted to hit at the end of the year. And because of this month, it's leaning towards it. And that'll lead into WrestleMania and some of the other places that we're going to, because I can say as well, we will be traveling to some of these events this year. And all of that's going to be located here on the podcast feed. So I apologize that I have to say subscribe, rate, review, do all that stuff. I got to remind you because every little bit helps, seriously. And thank you, because everything that we've been given now has been incredible, and it has led us to be able to do things like go to WrestleManias and cover these events. It's very it's humbling, and it brings a warm feeling because we work our ass off to make sure that you guys get the best. I said the WrestleMania announcement. I told you to rate, review, and subscribe. My last thing I want to say, too, before we get into this interview with Diamond Dallas Page, is that next week we will be dropping episode 25 on Friday, March 22nd, bright and early for you to wake up to. We will be joined by the man, Becky Lynch will be joining us. Her new book's about to come out. I believe it's either at the end of the month or right before WrestleMania there in April. From everything I've heard, this book is amazing. The physical hardcover is being sent to me. Luckily, I have a digital code. This weekend, I'm going to read every page to make sure I'm as informed as possible, because I have a list, right? It's actually right here. It's a list of goals, everything from my personal life to my finances to my health to professionally on the radio to what I want to do with the Sporting Tribune and everything I want to do with my wrestling coverage. And a section of that wrestling coverage is interviews I want to do. And I have 8 names on here, and one of them is Becky Lynch. So for us to be able to do that, we need to make sure we come correct. Should be a great conversation about a crazy, unprecedented rise in WWE and professional wrestling with Becky Lynch. So she'll be joining us next week, but let's get into our conversation. Diamond Dallas Page likes to talk a lot, and I'm so thankful that he's really fucking good at it. Our interview with Diamond Dallas Page ahead of his WWE biography airing on A&E this weekend is right here. Enjoy.
Great.
Perfect. All right, Dallas, you ready to do this?
I'm ready, bro.
All right, let's go. As we inch closer and closer to WrestleMania season and WrestleMania in Philadelphia, you know that means that A&E and WWE are teaming up again, and this season of biography has been fantastic. That doesn't stop. This upcoming Sunday, they focus on a WWE Hall of Famer who's joining us now, Diamond Dallas Page. 3-time champion, but even more important than that, his impact outside the ring has been magnificent. DDP, I saw you in the press box at the Royal Rumble, and I said, I'm going to wait for the right moment. That moment is here. How are you, my friend?
Very good. It was so fun. When I went up into the press box, because I'm really good friends with Chris Van Vliet, right? And he had texted me, "Are you here at the Rumble?" And after I did the little meet and greet that I did, I said, I had said, yeah. And I go, "Where are you?" He goes, "The press box." So I snuck into the press box and I sat down. He goes, "Where'd you come from?" And it was really the best seat in the house was in the press box there. And afterwards, I was starting to leave with everybody because I wanted to see the ending. So all the press box, you guys had all left.
Yeah.
I stood there and watched because I wanted to see what he'd do. And then it looked like everything was going to empty out. So I started to leave. But, oh, my God, walking out there with all the wrestling fans, it started to become pandemonium. So I figured, to hell with this. I'm going to walk through the people. And people, it was so fun. I wish I had this little selfie thing going as I was going, for people going, wow, oh my God, because I'm walking. That's how I used to go to the ring all the time, through the people, right? And I love the way Cody, when he's leaving, he's doing selfies. That's the stuff I used to do, man.
Yeah.
I would grab people's car camera. They're going, no, please leave. I go, take a breath, relax, click. And so I see him doing that and signing autographs and doing. as he's leaving. And if it's a show that there are no cameras, he'll stay and talk to the people like he is. I said this a while ago. I said, the very first people's champion is the man, Muhammad Ali. Then it's Dusty Rhodes. Then it's Diamond Dallas Page. Then it's The Rock. And now it's Cody Rhodes. I mean, there will be so many people like really mad, like, whoa, if he doesn't take this, if his story is not finished. And it couldn't be a bigger, better buildup because of that. And everything that happened in my career, like when I start to do the NWO angle where I turn them down, and it's supposed to happen on the third week. They asked me once, they asked me twice. The third week, I put the shirt on and I do what I'm going to do. Hit the diamond cutter on Scott and take Kevin over the top rope. But it gets pushed and it gets pushed and it gets pushed. Because the bottom line is the bookers did not believe that I was that guy, that I should have been the guy. But Kevin and Scott did. It took 11 weeks to get there, and it pissed me off so bad, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me. The best thing to ever happen to me, because it told this story, and then Savage got involved. And then we had this unbelievable main event pay-per-view, and I win. And I'm telling you, Adrian, it took me to a different level that I never knew existed. And people from that match, their opinion, if they were on the fence, they were all in. It was that story. And then Savage had hurt his Achilles, so we couldn't do it the next month. So it got stretched to the next month. And it kept on going. That's what this is. This is that length of time that it took. If he'd have won last year in LA, it would have been awesome, but it wouldn't have meant as much. This in Philly, and Philly are some of the greatest wrestling fans ever, but it isn't just Philly because people come from all over the world. I think the Mania is number 4 for biggest draws to bring money into the community.
100%.
Like, of course, the Super Bowl's number 1. I think Olympics is number 2. I don't remember where Mania is, if it's third or fourth or fifth, but it's somewhere in the top 5. That's how big a deal it is.
And it's you telling that little tidbit of your career and that pivotal point in your career, and you're telling me and having to wait and having to learn patience. I was lucky enough to already see the episode that's going to air this Sunday, and the one thing that stuck to me, and it even applies to Cody, is persistence. Because you get injuries as a younger kid, in your 20s you get injuries, but still that dream of being a wrestler is in the back of your head. At 31, you finally get that chance. At 35, last resort, you're in the ring. And even when you get in the ring, people are like, he's too old. Where does that where does that persistence come from, in your opinion?
Oh God! When I watched it, because I remember doing the interviews, but it's all how they piece it all together. People have been telling me my whole life what I can't do. So to me, it's like, okay, watch and just watch. It's going to take a while, but I'm telling you, it's going to happen because I'm not going to let it go. I call it being pleasantly persistent. And I've used it so many times. I try to teach it to as many young bloods as I can. Like, you got to be persistent. You got to be relentless. You got to keep putting the work in, and you got to see it. Because people who say, I believe it when I see it, those people never see shit. But the people who say, I believe it because I see it, that's what's magic. And a guy like The Rock, who's the biggest star in the world, he's one of those cats who see it at a different level. When you can be the biggest star in the world, let's just name another one, Tom Cruise. Oh, what did he ever do? He was the biggest star in the world. And Rock knocked him off that spot. But he's one of us. So that he's involved in what's happening right now at Mania, like, that is so magical. And it wouldn't have worked as well in LA. And from what I heard, he had commitments, so he couldn't do anything anyway. But for this to be here at this time in this place, Like, if it wasn't Randy Savage that I beat back in 1997, if it was a guy who it had to be Savage, because Savage still was seen like as big as you can go, and he's kind of like the James Dean of wrestling. I mean, everybody still dresses up like Randy. Everybody, including me, do the Randy impersonation. You know, everybody's wearing T-shirts. Like he's like, I don't know how to say it, but a different level of icon. And that's a guy I beat to change my career. And he's the guy who made it happen. Scott and Kev set me up. Without those cats, it never happens. But man, Randy, I'll never forget that Randy, we were in the locker room getting dressed, and Arn came in and he said, "So Randy, what do you want to do tonight?" And every night, bro, I'm getting left laying by the NWO. That's what we're doing. Or I escape, maybe hit Virgil, and escape through the crowd, But most nights I'm getting left laying. And Randy says, think I want to take the diamond cutter. Like, there's no cameras. There's no people there. There's plenty of people. The place is packed. There was 5,000 people who can't get in because we were so hot at that time, and they hadn't started booking, except for nitros and stuff, the big buildings yet.
Yeah.
We had like an ice hockey rink. So maybe it held 11,000 people. There's 5,000 people who couldn't get in. And we went out there, man, and he beat the hell out of me. He was stiff as hell at times, and you gave it right back, but I wasn't getting much because he's about to do the JOB, and he's going to make sure he's whooping my ass hard. And bottom line is, at some point I started to blow a comeback. He stopped me, picked me up, and diamond cutter. And I freaking slipped into that baby, and the roof blew off. And he'd been beating the hell out of me, so I just lay there. And he took the diamond cutter, so he's just laying there looking up at the lights. And I didn't move. And then the people started rumbling and rumbling and rumbling. And I just laid my arm over him. 1, 2, 3. And it was one of the loudest pops I've ever heard. And because there was so many people in that smaller building, it was surreal, man. And I could hear him say, think you know what we're going to do for, Spring Stampede. And I'm like, no. Like, you don't ever believe. Yeah. You don't ever believe when something that huge in your business, in this business, you don't believe it until you're walking to the ring. And now you know they can't change it. They can try, but they ain't gonna. That shit's going down.
No, that's incredible. And really quick, by the way, you bringing up Macho Man, the elbow drop from him on a scale of 1 to 10, level of pain. Where is it at? Is that a 10?
25. 25. And I'm sure when Randy first started doing it, he took a brunt of it and to protect you.
Yeah.
But bro, when I was 40, I turned 41 the night before I beat him. So my whole run's in my 40s, being on top. And Randy, if you were lucky enough to take the elbow, he used you as his crash bag. The first time he did it, I'm just laying there. He knocked me out with that gimmick to the head. I'm laying there. When he landed on me, I thought, because he came from this side, I thought the left side of my body's rib cage just opened up and my guts were all over the ring. And I know he's going to do it again. Oh, man. You probably can't use this, but I'll tell you, I pissed blood for 13 out of 15 weeks. I mean, bad. And the doctor told me, I didn't go to the team doctor. I went to my doctor. And he's like, you need to take 3 weeks off minimum. I'm like, okay. this is the biggest run of my life. I'm not doing anything. I'd have to have torn my rotator cuff and couldn't pick my arm up, to taking a break.
No, absolutely. And look, I know you have to talk to a lot of people, so I want to get a couple questions in real quick.
Sure.
And you're bringing up your run, Monday Night Wars, Attitude Era. It's a just an era that I don't think anyone ever thought that it would get this massive. But look at what's happening now. The WWE from Australia to Philly, all over the world, selling out. Monday Night Raw, SmackDowns, everything going through the roof. Hell, professional wrestling is on TV 6 times a week at least. It's insane. I mean, even Super Bowl week, Cody and The Rock, that situation was being talked about more than the damn Super Bowl game. To you, could I have you compare the eras?
They are very comparable. As a matter of fact, I did a video. If you want to see it, go to my Instagram, Diamond Dallas page. It's also my athlete Facebook. But I had to speak on it because I was getting bombarded from my buddies and fans and people who want to know what I thought of it. And I was in Jamaica at the time, and I'd watched the slap scene around the world. And the fact that The Rock was turning heel to get there, because there can only be one baby face when you're in that spot. And him coming in, I mean, The Rock is such a classy cat, man. And you don't know what's real. And I wanted people to know this. Like, you don't know what's real and what's not. And that's when you blur the lines. That's when wrestling works at a different level. The beginning of my little 7-minute video, I'm showing all the stuff where Scott Hall shows up, and then Kevin, then Bischoff gets thrown through the stage, and then Hulk. You think he's going to do the save for Randy, but then he drops a leg on him, and he starts. It goes from the Outsiders to the NWO, and it was the hottest thing ever. And I was lucky enough to go through a build through it and be ready when it got white hot, and I would have never thought that would happen again. But in a different way, it's happened again. When I was watching from Jamaica, this what I would call a press conference, but it was an arena with like 15,000 people, like blew my mind. And then how they did with everybody bringing all the different, the shining stars of the superstars of the WWE out. And then here comes friggin' Roman, and then The Rock, and then Cody, and then Seth Rollins. I mean, man, I always say shit gets real fast out there. And when it does, it's magical, man. It's magical, and I love what they're doing. Anybody who's listening to this, go to my Instagram or Facebook. The one will be right before this. You talk about stuff I do outside of wrestling. The Butterbean story. Have you seen the Butterbean video yet?
Of course.
I mean, so powerful, man. And so that's up there if anybody's not seen it. And to see, like, that's what my program's all about. It's about taking the elite athlete to a different level so that they, preventative maintenance so they don't get injured, and to the athlete or the regular guy or girl that's injured and in so much pain, and they want to get out of it so that they can, pick up their kids or their grandkids or whatever. And to see Butterbean go through that transformation, like I watched it with Jake and with Scott, now Marcus and Scotty Riggs. It's just an incredible time for me right now because it's all happening at one time. And Cody would be like the cherry on the top to be. It's going to be emotional, not just for me. It's going to be emotional for so many people. I don't know if you saw it, but before I ended up in the press conference, I saw him coming down the line. Of course, he's the ultimate babyface. He's doing the pictures and he's doing the autographs. And I just jumped over the railing. Nobody stopped me, And when he turned around, I was right there. And we had the bro hug, and it was a moment. And then when I sat down next to Chris Van Vliet. And he had said to me upstairs, he said, you know what? You got to come, because they gave me one of the little bands, right, for the press conference. And he said, he said, "You got to ask the first question." I'm like, "Yeah, right." And next thing I know, they hand me a mic and go, "You ask the first question." I'm like, "I don't have a question for him." But now I listen to him talk, and now I got a question for him. The people who had been on the ride with him all this way, from the Dashing Cody to the Stardust, and like it did not look like he should ever be in this spot if we go back 5 years.
Did he think that he would in the conversations
Yes.
that you had back then at the time when he was making his name and said, "Hey, I have to leave. I have to do this on my own in my own path"? Did he think that still? Or how difficult was it for him in the conversations that you guys had?
You don't know if you really can, but if, like I said earlier, if you believe you can, and this kid got a work ethic that is second to none. Rock, same way. Triple H, same way. Me, same way. Those are guys I know put an incredible amount of work into what it takes to get there. And he saw it. And I just back it up because when you saw what he did with AEW, I mean, that was all the four guys, bringing the Bucks and Kenny. But Cody was the workhorse. He's the one who was writing the TVs. He's the one who was putting it all together. And, it was really, I'm sure if Tony could go back in time, he would change. But Cody wasn't going to make his real name there. We had discussions about this. He had to come back. He had to be, like, this story has been a story that's not just made up. This is like what I'm saying. It's real. It gets real fast. And it blurs the lines again because they don't know what's real and what's not. But you can see Dusty being the champion in Madison Square Garden and like band beaming, and then no, bing, 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 bing. And they pull it, so they give it to the people and they take it away. I don't think they could take it away this time, and this, what I love the most about the WWE right now is I got to know a guy named Paul Levesque, better known as Triple H, in WCW. And when I went in the Hall of Fame, he's the one who called me, and they captured it on film. And I just watched him catch it with Barry and Mike Rotunda. Barry Windham, go guys coming in because they're interviewing, and you could just see they both got welled up and got a little, little throat deal, a little choked up. I know because I've been there. But Triple H, this was in October before, it was 2017. So January, you start hearing who's going to be in the Hall of Fame. So this is October, so I wasn't even thinking about it, not even in my mind. And I would always say to people, it'll happen when it happens. Happen when it happens. And it was time. And he just started talking, "Hey, man, how's the shoot going? And, hey, good to catch up." We talked about a couple of things. And he goes, anybody who saw you when you first started out wrestling at 35, they got to be looking at you like I did. Like, what's this guy thinking? I'm 22. He's 35. What is he thinking? Like, he doesn't have a shot. But then because of the pleasant persistency and the work ethic, it did come. And he's the guy at some point, he's saying, "But you proved them all wrong. And what a great run you had." And I'm starting thinking, oh my God, is this that call? And it was a moment, man. So it was cool to see it in Barry and Mike Rotunda, see their faces when Triple H told them. And the thing I love about the WWE the most is that Triple H is now the storyteller because he's one of us. He's a cat who came from nothing and worked his way up that ladder. And then you all know about the curtain call in Madison Square Garden. Man, he had the table ripped out from under him, and he went to the gutter. Now, let's see where you go now. And man, he came back stronger than ever. He understands storytelling. He understands storytelling in the ring with the interviews, with the overall projection of where they want the company to go. And I think right now, I just talked to them the other day. I think right now, like, there is no limitation because all of a sudden, first of all, wrestling is cool again. And guys who are wrestling fans are talking to people who weren't such wrestling fans, but now are.
Yeah.
They're the people who come and go. But the force of the people, like without the people doing this, I never, no matter what Scott and Kev were trying to help me do, this never gets even to be a subject without getting 100, then 500, and then 1,000, and 5,000, 20,000 people throwing this up when I hit my move, So it's a really cool time to be on this run and to watch it. And I couldn't be any happier. All these planets have aligned for Mr. Cody Rhodes. And it's really special.
It all leads April 6th and 7th at WrestleMania. Before then, check it out this upcoming Sunday. A&E, WWE, Biography, your episode airing here for the West Coast at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. DDP, it has been a pleasure, and I expect to see you both nights in the press conference because you're now a member of the media, all right?
Yes, I am. Great to see you, Adrian. Walk up and say hello.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. Thank you guys so much for the time. Take care, y'all. Greg, be easy. Jordan, thank you. Dallas, thank you, sir.
See you, brother.
Good one.